funny.
What?
Because Pedro called me
Yeah.
Pedro called me F word with a hard T at the end.
Yeah, I know.
Watch it now.
That's why I didn't say the whole word.
Okay.
Let me look.
Hey,
Oh.
I got the message.
What? That we're going?
That we're live streaming. And yeah,
Yeah, I saw
Pedro. Austin thought Pedro was the Andrew.
that.
I
Andrew.
I'm Andrew. Yeah. With no, I don't know. Usually Andrew calls us that because he can. Kertonk. That's his God damn it. Wait, is the live stream still on?
Why? Yes,
Because
it
of what
is.
he just said.
Oh god, it's still on.
Guys,
Oh my god, it's still on.
I need you to watch it.
That's all Steven.
It's still on.
I can't say what I want to say to you now because the live stream's still on.
Good job, guys.
I didn't do anything. What did I do?
Yeah, good job, Brendan.
Okay. We are streaming.
Yay!
Yes. Alright. You ready? Let's
I
get
know.
this show on the road.
I'm
Okay.
that's like 90% of the time.
So what do I hit? I hit auto down here or I hit stop up here?
Hit auto.
Hit-
We'll stop the song first.
Okay.
And then hit auto. And there you go. There
Okay.
you go.
And then we
Good
should
job,
be
kid.
good to go. Oh, I should probably fade that.
Does it matter the music's not on?
It doesn't matter. You're right. It's alright, guys.
Oh my god.
Hey, I had my soundboard training.
I didn't.
You sure about that?
100%. Hello and welcome to the CineManiacs tonight. It is 9:31 here on the Galaxy Radio, and let's see who we got on the show tonight.
I'm Brendan.
I'm Steven.
I'm Levi, and
I'm Alexis.
yes, we have our very first guest here tonight, Alexis LaMarsh. We'll get to know her a little bit later, but it's so funny.
It was just the way you said her name. It was funny.
Alexis LaMarsh. Did I say
Alexis
it
It looked
LaMarsh.
It's like you struggled halfway through.
I know. I took it as you were like a game show host. Like, come on down to the Price is Right.
wrong? But no. Tonight on the CineManiacs, we have our very first guest with us, Alexis LaMarsh, and she'll be reviewing The Greatest Showman tonight. The Greatest Showman.
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 The greatest showman.
Showman.
Cheese man.
But just so you know, like what our lineup is tonight, it's the first half we're gonna do The Post, Phantom Thread, and I, Tanya, and then the second half we'll be reviewing Darkest Hour and The Greatest Showman. So yeah, before we go any further, just how are we doing tonight, guys? Doing all right?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A week
Good.
being okay, treating us well.
Yeah.
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 I'm
I
getting
mean, I'm done for the week.
You done for the week?
Yeah.
You
I
lucky?
got one more class tomorrow and then I'm done.
My class, it's not canceled, but he has individual meetings, so he's just like, yeah, get this class tomorrow.
3 more classes for me.
Oh god.
and work, so that's fun. So yeah, we ready to jump right in? Are we ready?
Sure.
Awesome. But first, we have to read the PSA, our
Public
favorite
service
one.
announcement.
And just because the Super Bowl is this Sunday, we're gonna read about
Sunday.
Anheuser-Busch. So these are our kids, and just like your kids, it seems what we tell them goes in one ear and out the other. But guess what? When it comes to making a tough decision like whether or not to drink, kids say parents have more influence than anyone. So talk to your kids. Let's work together to stop underage drinking before it starts. What? Those blinds are not shut.
They're
Yeah.
not.
Shut them blinds, please.
A car turned on its headlights and drove away. It scared me.
They're spying on. They found us, guys. They found us. All right. So yeah, if nobody's got anything else they want to say or anything else we want to make comments on. We'll start reviewing, but before we do, let's just Alexis, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a media communications major.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sophomore. I don't know what I'm doing here. I watched a cool movie and I'm here to talk about it.
All right, so you're a sophomore.
That's about it.
That's literally how we all got here.
Yeah.
So you're a sophomore. So you're the same grade as me and Brendan. You're a year below Steven.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you said you're media communications major. What do you plan on doing with that media communications major? Do you have an idea? Like
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm interested in sports,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna try to cover as much. Like in media communications, it's very broad, so I'm gonna try to learn a little bit about everything,
Mhm.
and do a lot of emphasis on sports and sports-related research.
So you're hoping to do something within sports media communication, but if not, you do want that broad overview so you can get into like anything else. I just want the job.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's how everybody here at Webster is. I just want the job. So.
And by sports, she means baseball.
Specifically baseball, but.
So would you be okay if it was football? You had to be sports communication.
It's something I mean, it depends on what kind of job I get.
Or basketball, soccer.
I mean, if I had to.
If you
I
had to.
could. Golf.
Golf. Oh.
That maybe
I would
not.
rethink golf. Yeah. Bowling. Bowling's fun.
You know what? I think I'll stick to the major ones.
All right. All right. Is there, before we continue, so we talk about movies, and tonight you're reviewing The Greatest Showman. Was there any movie within the past year that you really enjoyed or that struck your attention in any way?
In the past year.
2017. What movie of 2017? Was there any, or?
I mean, most significantly, like, I awaited The Last Jedi forever, for the entire year. I don't know. I remember watching The Revenant at the beginning of, was that 16? That was 16.
That was 2016.
Yeah, see, I haven't watched any movies this past year, so.
So just Star Wars?
Star Wars, yeah.
And real quick, and real
And The
quickly,
Greatest Showman, I know I've seen other ones, but.
just real quickly, what did you think about Star Wars?
I wanted to like it. I liked it to an extent, but I don't know. I feel like I have to be careful with what I say.
No. It's open to anything.
I feel like this is touchy.
No, it's not.
Just no spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Right. I liked it, and immediately upon walking out of the theater, I really enjoyed it. Like the more I thought about it, the more I was. It's an interesting movie. I'll say that much. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely.
What we're used to from Star Wars.
That's good. I'm about on the same. Like I thought it was good, but it wasn't good. And I'm the same way. Like I wanted it to be my favorite movie of 2017, but alas, it was not, and it fell short.
Right. I wanted
favorite.
like an Empire Strikes Back level kind of.
Really?
Almost.
So you wanted it to be like a remake?
No, not like a remake, but like how The Empire Strikes Back really took the franchise a step farther. Like, I wanted it to be really good. I wanted it to,
That's
have
funny.
that kind of.
Because I just thought it was The Empire Strikes Back just in reverse, but not as strong and powerful the sequel as what Empire Strikes Back is.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, all right. So that's a little bit about Alexis LaMarsh, who she is. So, for real now, we'll get on with the movies we have to review for tonight. So, first up is The Post, which I was the only one who went and saw.
Yeah, you were the only one who saw a lot of these movies.
Just 3 of these movies. I was the only one.
3 of the 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think you're getting the point of this.
Steven saw none.
I haven't seen any of the 5.
That's fine. You still get to add commentary and whatnot. So
Still ask questions.
yeah,
You're
still ask
so
questions. Still be curious. Still relate. Okay. Don't be upset. You did this to yourself. You made a choice whether to see the movie. Alright, so no, The Post. It's Steven Spielberg's newest film, his latest film, before Ready Player One, which comes out in March. And it's his latest historical film about the Pentagon Papers that went missing and were stolen from the Pentagon, and were about how the government was lying about our involvement in the Vietnam War. And the papers are found by the Washington Post. And the Washington Post ends up, their head publisher, Kay Graham, who's played by Meryl Streep in the movie, has to make the decision whether or not to post these papers to the public, whether to publish them to the public or not. And if she does, like, how will this end her career? How will this end, like, head editor Ben Bradley, who's played by Tom Hanks in the movie, how would it end his career? Like, this is a risk. Is she willing to take or not? But you just have to go see the movie to find out whether or not she does. But if you know history, you know the outcome. Of what
just the same, or just look this up.
You know what she does. So, but it was, in my opinion, like, I thought it was very, very good. It was my favorite Spielberg film late. Like, I really enjoyed this one compared to his other films lately.
Like what?
Like, did he have something? No, he didn't have something last year. Before this, he had Bridge of Spies, and before this, he had Lincoln. Bridge of Spies is good. Lincoln is good. I really enjoyed both of them. Lincoln's a little slow, though. War Horse, I really, really enjoyed. I would say, like, this is probably my... Like, I really enjoyed this one as much as I did War Horse compared to the other two, Lincoln and Bridge of Spies. Even though I really enjoyed Bridge of Spies, but it was slow in some parts, whereas The Post, like, it is not slow at all. I don't feel like in any of its parts. Because lately here with Spielberg's, like, historical films, or just his films in general, his age, I feel, is catching up to him, and you can see it. Like, as Spielberg's getting older, like, his films are getting slower than what they used to be. And, like, you definitely saw that, like, with War Horse is slow, Lincoln is slow, Bridge of Spies is slow in some parts, but this, it wasn't slow at all. Like, it didn't skip a beat, I didn't feel like. And, I really enjoyed that. Like, it wasn't excessively long. It was only an hour and 55 minutes, which was nice. So, I really enjoyed this compared to others. It still had that, like, you can definitely tell it's Spielberg. It still has that same feel to it, because in the same, cinematographer, Janis Kaminski, and original scores done by John Williams. Like, it's the whole Spielberg team. The same editors, composer, cinematographer. It's all the same guys, and you can always, it is that Spielberg feel. Like, you can tell it's Spielberg just with the way that it's shot, the way that Janis shoots it. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I've got to say about The Post. I didn't have too many problems with it. I really enjoyed it all the way through. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys got anything?
I got a question I want to ask.
Yes.
Because I love Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
How was he?
He was good. He was a really good supporting character. Like, you saw a lot more of him than what I thought you were going to see. Like, he was like Tom Hanks' right-hand man in the movie. And he was really good. It's kind of funny. Kind of, like, in Better Call Saul, he has, like, the poster where he's at the telephone booth.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this movie, he was always at the telephone booth.
Yeah, they showed that in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, he's always at the telephone booth. But, yeah. It seems like Spielberg does a lot of, like, he tries to make a film that covers every war, it seems like. So he's done World War I with War Horse. He's done World War II twice with Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan. He's done the Civil War with Lincoln. He's done the Cold War with Bridge of Spies. He's now done the Vietnam War with The Post. He hasn't done anything with the Iraq War. He hasn't done anything.
That's his next one.
Yeah, that's his next one.
His next
No,
one.
his next film is West Side Story.
Huh?
His next film is West Side Story. After Ready Player One comes out in March, he's doing a remake of West Side Story, and then after that, Indiana Jones 5. So, but yeah, taking a break from history for a bit. yeah, no, like before World War II, like broke out. Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1936, 3 years before World War II breaks out, because it's the Nazis, and so and then the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was the Cold War. It was 57, the Russians, the Soviets. Like he always got incorporated.
He loves his wars.
Yeah, Empire of the Sun. What's that?
Maybe the United States is just good at war.
Oh.
I'm just saying, you know, like, he's like, it happens near this war.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, the post, the Vietnam War. The United States did not win that war, and the whole movie's about how we shouldn't even be involved in the Vietnam War. So that was a little upsetting. But the Post. It's nominated for 2 Oscars now: Best Actress Meryl Streep and Best Motion Picture. So
of course, Meryl Streep's up for
of
Oscar.
course, she earned her 21st nomination with this thing.
She's been nominated so many times.
She's the most nominated
I
in
know.
history. Most nominated.
I know.
It's ridiculous. It's like an obligation when they
It's like
when they do their
even
ballots.
Even
it's
if
like
it's not a big performance, they're just like
write her in.
Meryl Streep.
She wasn't in anything this year. Write her in.
Write her in for last year.
Yeah, right.
She didn't win last year. Write her in.
Write her in again. Give her another chance. But it was good for her. Like, it was Meryl Streep as always, and Tom Hanks did a really good job with his performance, and all the other supporting roles. Bob Odenkirk did a good job. I forgot the one guy who was in Saving Mr. Banks. He was in this movie. I forgot what his name was, but he did a good job. It was just Sarah Paulson who played his wife, Tom Hanks' wife. She did a good job. But Sarah Paulson does a good job with just about almost everything. So, yeah, I highly recommend go see The Post. Definitely. One of Spielberg's, I think, really one of his better films. All right, anybody else got anything, or I'll give my rating. So,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't see a lot of movies. But to me, I'm really interested in seeing it because in some ways it reminds me of Spotlight.
Yeah.
And like the whole investigative reporting.
Yeah, he's telling you to talk into the mic.
Yeah. So it reminds you of Spotlight.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that because the 2 writers of this film are the same exact writers as Spotlight.
Wow.
So yeah.
Probably go see it.
I still gotta see Spotlight.
Spotlight's really good. It's really good. So yeah, if you liked, definitely go see it then. It's the same exact writers. They're really good at, obviously, writing journalism movies. So, newspaper movies. So, yeah. It doesn't feel like Spotlight because this is Steven Spielberg and
Right.
Spotlight was Tom McCarthy. But it gives you that, like, gripping feeling of what the newspaper can do. With, like, the Washington Post, like, what we've seen this past year with the New York Times can do. So, yeah. All right, anything else? Or
Nope.
no?
I'm good.
All
That's
right.
my rating.
What I would rate The Post, I give The Post a 7.6. 7.6 out of 10.
You okay?
I got the hiccups.
Well, all right. Then if there's nothing else about The Post, 7.6 out of 10, we will move on to our next film, Phantom Thread, which, Brendan, you and I saw this one.
Yeah?
Do you want to go ahead and give the synopsis, and I'll be doing 2 other films later?
Sure. I'll try my best to describe it as best I can. So Phantom Thread is Daniel Day-Lewis's last film. He is retiring now, and it is about a dressmaker played by Daniel Day-Lewis, very passionate, and oh god, what's his name?
The character's name?
Yes,
Reynolds Woodcock?
Reynolds. I could not remember Reynolds. He plays Reynolds Woodcock, who is a very passionate dressmaker, and he falls for this woman named Alma, and they sort of develop a relationship, but it's mostly about her having to live with and deal with his passion for his work, and just basically getting through that while maintaining the relationship that they have. So,
yeah,
I mean, I think that's good enough. Right?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good synopsis.
That was pretty good, yeah. So, do you want to give your review first?
Sure.
What you thought of it?
Sure. Because you just got done talking.
Yeah.
So, I had no expectations going into this movie. It looked interesting from the trailer, but I wasn't like gushing over it. I wasn't like, ooh, I need to go see this movie. But whenever you were like, I'm gonna go see Phantom Thread, I was like, I'll tag along. Why not? Whenever I watched it, it's very beautiful. It is a very beautifully shot, lit movie. But whenever we first got out of the theater, I wasn't too impressed with it.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't being like, oh my god, this is such an amazing movie. It sort of took me like a day of sitting on it to really think about what it represents and what it just is. And I heard what you and Elizabeth had to say about it, and I sat on that more as well. And the more I thought about it, the more I guess I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And thought about how good it really was.
Yeah.
This is Daniel Day-Lewis's last performance. I haven't seen many Daniel Day-Lewis films. I thought he did a pretty good job. It wasn't anything that I personally thought was like very special, I guess.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything like we saw Gangs of New York. It wasn't anything like The Butcher.
Like that's an
like
extreme.
that.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything extreme. It was he was just a guy, but his acting was really good in some scenes. He has some really good lines of dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the woman who played Alma was really good as well. I do not remember her name.
Her name's Vicky Cripes or something like that.
That sounds about right. Yeah. She did a really good job as well. She was very, not like cold, but sort of like, I guess calculating, I guess, is a good way to put it. She had some good scenes, but it wasn't too much and it wasn't too little.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like it was just right, like her acting and what she did.
Yeah.
Reynolds' sister, I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
What was her name?
Cyril.
Yeah. Cyril. Yes. Cyril was a really good character. I really liked her, and I really liked the actress who played her.
Leslie Manville.
Yeah, Leslie Manville. However, there were two things that really bothered me in this movie. And it is the fact that every time they got in a car, they had the camera on like a car mount on the hood whenever they drove. Whenever they did this, the camera shook violently.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the first time that they did it, I was like, oh, maybe this is supposed to like build suspense and like anxiety because maybe he's gonna get in a car accident or something. But then nothing happened. Like he literally was just like pulling up to his house, and I was like, oh, okay, that was kind of weird, but all right. And then they did it again. They did the same exact thing again, and they did the same exact thing, and I was like, why?
It's just the car mount. Yeah.
I know. Why? I just don't understand it though. Why didn't they just go with a different shot? Why did they have to have those shots going into the driver and passenger seat? Like, it didn't work with me. It didn't work with me.
Yeah.
And there was the last thing that really bothered me with this movie, that revolves around the movie specifically, was there was a transition where they were in the mountains, and they were in the mountains. There was no snow, and then they used snow falling as a transition into the next shot, which is inside of them coming down the stairs. And I was just like,
yeah,
this is wrong.
Yeah.
Having edited a couple projects over the past like year and a half, it just didn't work. It did not work. It did not feel right.
Yeah.
Because it looked very cheap. It looked very cheap and very bad.
I don't think there's a way you can actually pull that off well.
Yeah, like there was
just
no
explaining
snow. There was no snow in the shot of them at the mountains.
Yeah.
And then they used snow falling as a transition to an inside shot.
Yeah.
Where there's no snow and they are inside coming down the stairs.
Yeah, it was just weird. It didn't work.
It was just weird. But besides those 2 points, I thought the movie was very good now that I've sat on it.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, the audience that we saw it with didn't really help.
Oh, God.
They laughed at parts that were not funny.
The audience didn't get it. The
And
audience we had did not get it.
And I was like, oh, okay, I don't see what. There was one specific moment that I cannot talk about.
Yeah.
That they laughed, and they thought it was hysterical. And I was like, this is not a moment that you should be laughing at.
Yeah.
Why do you think this is funny? But it's a very thought-provoking movie.
Mm-hmm.
There was one line of dialogue that I don't really want to give away because it is kind of crucial to the plot, but it did stick with me, and it was near the beginning that it was spoken. But there are themes and elements that are very thought-provoking. Like I said, they just stick with you. And now that I've had time to sit on the movie and reflect on it, I do want to see it again. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters, but I definitely want to rewatch it.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No, that's my take on it.
All right.
I want to hear your take.
Yeah. I enjoyed Phantom Thread. I really liked it. It was what I wanted for Daniel Day-Lewis to be a bittersweet goodbye for his final performance. And that's what it was. Like, it wasn't anything too extreme where he goes to the extreme, like what we see with Lincoln, what we see with Gangs of New York, what we see with My Left Foot. Like, he doesn't lose himself 100% into the character to the maximum extreme. He loses himself completely where it's not Daniel Day-Lewis, but it's Reynolds Woodcock, where he's a very passionate British designer. Fashion designer, and I'm glad it was bittersweet for him because that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping it wasn't like anything like let's go out on like a huge high note or let's underdo it, but it was like just right for his age, how old he is, and for going out and for working with a filmmaker that he's worked with previously before and has a good collaboration with. So. I really enjoyed Daniel Day-Lewis's performance, and I'm glad it was the way it was. His sister, Leslie Manville, she did a great job, I thought, too. She did a really good job. And Alma, she did a really good job. I really, really enjoyed her performance over everybody else's in this whole film, was hers.
Yeah.
Just because of the strengths she had. Because the character that he played was such... He was... focused on designing dresses, fashion design, and that was his life. Like, he would not do anything else. He was so dedicated. That is what his life is about, and he's 100% dedicated to it. He's very work-oriented towards it, and it's what he is good at, and so he sticks with his routine. And then her, who wanted something more with their relationship that the two of them had, that she had thought, like, was going on at the beginning, and then it ended up being like, I still like you, but I like you more than like the other girls I have that try on the dresses and that help make the dresses, but I don't want to go anywhere. He's like afraid to go anywhere with it. It's like he mentions early in the film, like he doesn't think he'll ever get married, doesn't want to get married, because he thinks it'll hurt him, like it'll hurt his life as a fashion designer. And then like everything that she does, like because she wants something more, like she puts up with him, and she continues to put up, even during like the most like a crucial moment in the film where the two of them have an argument. It tears her apart, but at the same time she comes back to it, and she is willing to put up with him. She is willing to wait with him as long as she can spend time with him. So I really enjoyed that. I give her props. Like, even though she knows it can't happen, she still she wants to try at least, and she will do anything she can to spend time with him, to be with him, just the two of them, make it seem like they're together, but not together. And I thought just the performances overall really helped carry the film. I mean, they are what carried the film. It's what made the film. It was the three of them, their performances, and the plot of the story. The storyline overall was, like you said, thought-provoking, and it really did make you think. And I enjoyed the storyline that, even though he's like very work-oriented, and both of them trying new things, him trying to get out of his comfort zone, and her moving on from her comfort zone, so that way they can both try and satisfy, please the other, while still trying to be focused on what it is they're doing in life. Yeah. It was really good, and I really enjoyed it. It was beautifully shot. Like you said, it was very beautifully shot. It was typical Paul Thomas Anderson, his films. And the score was really, really good with that piano. That 1950s piano that just kept playing in the background was very, very good. And I don't know if I have anything else. The score, the shot, like it was just beautifully shot. Some of the shots, like my favorite shot was like towards the end. I can't say what it is because it's like the climax of the film. I can't say what it is, but I really liked, that one shot. And I don't think I got anything else except that like both characters tried to show another side to each other, that try and get out of your comfort zone and enjoy other things in life than what you're used to. Yeah. Explore with others. Yeah. All right. Anybody got any questions or we want to comment on anything else for anybody? No, we're good. All right, Brendan, want to give you a rating for Phantom Thread?
Sure.
All right.
I will give Phantom Thread an 8.2.
Nice. I give Phantom Thread a solid 8.0 out of 10. So, all right, Phantom Thread, go see it. It's in theaters now. It went nationwide 2 weeks ago. It had a limited release Christmas Day, but went nationwide 2 weeks ago. Nominated for 6 Oscars, including Best Motion Picture. So go see it now. All right, we got one more movie before we take our break, and it is I, Tonya. Starring Margot Robbie, Allison Janney, Sebastian Stan, and, what was the other guy? Oh, well. I forgot. God. I know those 3, and then there was one other. I can't remember their name. Oh, well. Anyways, so yeah, I was the only one who went and saw I, Tonya again. But that's alright. So, I'll just jump right into it. So, I, Tonya, it's about, if you guys know who Tonya Harding is. Yeah. Famous.
I know.
You know? Oh, you don't know who Tonya Harding is?
No.
She was famous, for all of you out there who don't know who Tonya Harding is, who the movie is based off of. She was a famous Olympian ice skater, figure skater. And she, what she did in the Olympics, like, she tried to get further and further. She was the only one in the Olympics who could do the triple axel spin on the ice. She was the only one. And then once her rival, Nancy Callaghan, I think her name is Nancy. It's something. Nancy something. Callaghan. It's what?
Nancy Drew.
No. But no, her it was like Nancy Callaghan was her rival, and she was able to do the triple axel, and that was what was really hurting Tonya Harding. That's what made her like the star of the show in the Olympics, was that she could do
Nancy
the Kerrigan. It's what made Tonya Harding the star of the show. Like what made it all eyes on her was the triple. She was the only one who could do it. So once Nancy Kerrigan's able to do it, she ends up herself and sending others to hurt Nancy Kerrigan.
Oh.
Yeah, she breaks her knee.
Oh.
And, breaks her knee. And the other guys, she broke her knee, and then the other guys, like, they, like, broke her ankle or her leg or something. Okay. And, or it was the other way around where she broke the ankle and they broke the leg. But, or they popped her knee. I know the one guy's like they broke her leg, like her knee, so that way she couldn't compete in the Olympics, and so that way Tanya Harding could get ahead. But of course, when you try and pull something off like that, and when you try and pull something off like that where you don't know what you're doing and you're not good at, then you eventually get the FBI on you, and we know how the story ends. You're caught. So
see, I thought it was supposed to be like like a nice uplifting drama.
oh no, this is a comedy. This is a comedy.
See, I didn't know that. I've never seen any of the trailers.
It must be a dark comedy, right?
Yeah, it's a dark comedy.
I've never seen any of the trailers, so I'm like, this should be like a nice drama about ice skating. I'm like, nope.
No. It was no. This was a dark comedy, but yeah, and so that's the story of Tanya Harding, and that's what the movie My Tanya is about. And
interesting.
Yeah, it was really good. I liked it.
I really want to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
See, I didn't know that, so now I'm interested. I thought it was just like some drama. I'm just like,
no, it was good. I really enjoyed it. It stars Margot Robbie as Tanya Harding, and it stars Allison Janney as her mom. And her performance as her mom was hilarious, and it was also it was sad because the way that Tanya Harding was raised, she was a country girl, like a southern girl. She describes herself in the movie like she is a redneck.
Mm-hmm.
She grows up being a redneck. Her mom and her dad were rednecks, and that's how she was brought up. Eventually, her parents they get divorced, and she's lives with her mother, and her mother just beats doesn't physically beat, but verbally trash talks the crap out of her, and
it's after 10 if you want to curse.
No,
it's fine.
Don't do it unless you feel.
But she is just this god awful mother to her. She down talks her. She had never had one nice thing to say to her about her ice skating. She always talked down to her, and the reason why she did it was that way it would help motivate her to continue to do better than all the other girls out there on the ice.
Hey, that's just like Whiplash.
It is. But
obsessed with Whiplash.
I mean, I thought about it because I'm like,
you're not wrong.
It's literally the exact same reason.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Except he did have a couple things to say, you got the part and whatnot. He had a couple nice things.
Very little things.
I said a couple.
Yeah.
But no, she never had anything nice. She never complimented her. There was one time she would not let her go to the bathroom, and she ended up peeing on the ice, and she was like, too bad, so sad, continue skating out there. And she wouldn't let her, leave the ice at all. And, yeah. But, she ended up hating her mom, and then she ended up, marrying her husband, who in the movie is played by Sebastian Stan, and
Winter Soldier.
I mean,
Ice?
yes.
Winter Soldier.
Wow.
Harley Quinn and Winter Soldier.
Stop.
That's some weird fan fiction.
That is weird fan fiction. DC, MCU, yeah. But then she meets her husband, who's played by Sebastian Stan in the movie, and he they're both sweet at the beginning, but then it gets into domestic violence, and he
don't give away everything.
No. I'm just it's a biopic. I'm just what happened with her, and everybody knows the story.
I don't know the whole story.
You guys said you knew Tanya Harding won.
I knew about what happened. I didn't know everything about her life.
It's okay. Let's just put it this way: it was a rough life for Tanya Harding, really rough. And then competing, and then competing in the Olympics. It seemed like the only glory, the only good time she ever had in her life was when all eyes were on her because she was the only one who could do the triple axel on the ice. And but it was a rough life. It was to get to that point of doing the triple axel for her, with her husband and with her mom, it was difficult for her being raised like that and growing up like that. And then when they get into this whole scandal of hurting Nancy Kerrigan, you're saying, Nancy Kerrigan, breaking her ankle, her leg, her knee, everything, so that way she couldn't skate. And then once we find out they get caught, I won't say what happened. You go see the movie or read it somewhere what happened with Tanya Harding, but like, of course, we all know, like, you gotta have a downfall. You get caught eventually. You can't get away with it if you have no idea what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So, and it was just funny the way that these guys played off and, like, they have no idea what they're doing. So, it was very, like, it was funny and it was good.
I really want to see it.
It's good. It's really good. So, yeah, I highly recommend it. Nominated for 3 Oscars now. So,
really?
Yeah, 3 Oscars.
It's, what?
Actress Margot Robbie, supporting actress Allison Janney, and film editing. It was really good. I highly recommend you guys go and see it. You guys got anything you want to ask or comments? No? Nothing about I, Tanya?
No. Not really, no.
All right.
I feel like I just have more questions about her life, which I can just look up on my own.
Yeah. It was rough. It was rough.
So I don't want to look it up now because I'm going to watch the movie.
It was, yeah. I mean, it was, when I was at home before, because it wasn't playing at home when we were over winter break. But then once I came here, once we came back to school, it started playing here, and it started playing back home. Like, literally the weekend that I came back here. And so that's when I went and saw it, was when the weekend I came back here. And
still playing.
We'd have to look, yeah. But, yeah, I went and saw it, and before I went and saw it, like, back home, late, it was, like, after midnight on NBC or whatever, they had, like, a documentary, like, an interview with Tanya Harding on, and I was watching it, and, like, everything she was making with what the movie did correctly and what was not correct in the movie, and, like, everything that was, like, depicted her life, and she said, like, everything from her life leading up to the triple axel was correct, like in the movie. Like, she had a rough life with her mother and her husband. So, like, the beginning's accurate. I don't know what parts are inaccurate, though, but that's a biopic, so there's got to be an accuracy for the story. Yeah. So, alright, if there's nothing else, my rating for I, Tanya, I would give I, Tanya probably... I'd give it like a 7.2 or 7.4. Somewhere between like 7.2, 7.4. So yeah, that's all I've got to say about I, Tanya. So we've reached the halfway point of our show. We're going to take about a 10-15 minute break, and then we'll be right back with Darkest Hour and The Greatest Showman. Alright, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back right here on your station, your voice, the Galaxy Radio. Okay, I hit the computer. We fade up, turn those on. Hit this off, right? And then hit play.
Yeah, put it back on auto.
And then hit play.
Also turn off the live stream.
I was going to turn that off as soon as we got